Intuition is one of the most powerful assets that women bring into business and leadership, and yet it is often undervalued in a world that prizes logic and strategy above everything else. Women's brains and hormonal cycles are wired to process information in a deeply interconnected ways, allowing them to sense patterns, read energy, and perceive subtle cues that data alone cannot reveal. This intuitive intelligence is not only mystical or accidental, but a proven dimension of female leadership that guides better decision making, deeper client relationships, and more innovative solutions. When women learn to trust their inner compass, their intuition, instead of silencing it, and turned to masculine structures of success, this is where they find clarity, they find creativity and confidence that becomes their greatest competitive edge. In this episode, we will explore this and so much more. My guest today certainly knows so much about this on this topic. But before we dive in, if you enjoy what I'm doing here with this project, follow the show and share it with your audience so I can continue to improve women's lives. So, my beautiful, who are you and why are you doing what you're doing?
Thank you so much. My name is Carrie Cardozo. I am a master psychic, a business consultant, as well as a powerful energetic healer. And I honestly started my business and what I'm doing, teaching women how to tap into their psychic gifts because of the fact that I see so many women who are burnt out in business trying to create the success that they know they're supposed to have, but they're doing it in a very masculine, pushing, forcing way.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I realized is we came here to this planet in order to tap back into our true soul and our true divine essence. And with that comes your psychic development.
I absolutely love that. And for everybody listening and watching, I want to say something that Carrie is the best psychic in not only in the States, probably in the world. I know that might sound a little bit too much. I've had the pleasure of working with so many people, but I want people to know that we have a very special human being today, and everything you will share, you are indeed an absolute expert in this field, 1,000%. You blow my mind with your insights and also with your gifts that are 1,000% real. I even get goosebumps when I say that. So, I have a
Thank you so much.
question.
Thank
Of course, that is, and you know me that
you.
I'm super direct. Whatever is here, it's always on my lips. So it is 1,000% the truth. So, you know how entrepreneurs speak about gut feeling,
Mhm.
right? So, how do you see intuition and psychic insights playing a role in better decision making?
Yeah. So I am 100% for intuition and psychic insights. And I have a little bit of a controversy regarding gut instinct because of the fact that people don't actually understand what a true gut instinct is. Oftentimes, people will mix their gut instinct up with fear.
Yes.
So, let's say somebody says, "Hey, do you want to speak on a stage with 20,000 people watching?" That initial instinct is like, "Oh my freaking God, like how scary would that be?" And some people will be like, My intuition is telling me, no, it's not for me." I've seen a lot of people do this
Mhm.
because their fears or their limitations or their beliefs are the first thing they feel, and they say that's a gut instinct, and it's not.
Mhm.
So when I talk about psychic and intuition, it is going beyond that body's response. It's going to that deeper soul aspect that everybody has within inside of themselves. And when you're tuned into that, when you're actually tapped into your soul, to your channels are open, when you're really using that intuition, you're never wrong. You cannot make a wrong decision. The problem is that there's so much noise in the world today that people just
Mhm.
question it. But whether we're talking about the top CEOs, the most successful people in the world, the people who have earned billions of dollars of success, they are all using their intuition.
All
Every
of them.
one of them, every
Yes,
single one.
I
The
totally agree with you.
So the problem is that people watch what other people are doing. They listen to what people say works for them, and
Mhm.
they follow that instead of what their actual intuition is telling them, what their actual psychic channel, their energy reading is sharing with them, because they don't trust it, because they
Mm.
haven't truly felt it and have that confirmation of, yeah, this is it. This is it. But everyone has experienced it. If it's that little voice in your head that says, take a certain road, or, now's not the time, or say yes to something that seems totally ludicrous to them, or they knew that somebody was going to call them before the person actually called,
Yeah.
that's that gut feeling that people talk about. That's that true intuition. It doesn't ever, 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 ever stem from logic, ever.
Mhm.
So if there's a logical thought process that is not your intuition, that is your brain trying to figure it out. Our brains are not involved in our intuition, our gut feeling, our psychic skills.
I love what you're saying. I absolutely validate it. In fact, I face this with my clients all the time when they think it's intuition, but it's actually their fear. And in my book, The Future of Business is Female, actually, I followed research, and what research shows that a lot of women specifically, they confuse intuition with their inner critique. So they
Yeah.
have an inner critique that is so judgmental and saying, you will not make this. You are this. This is not for you. And then obviously this is not your intuition. So the way I tell my clients to make a difference between it is intuition will never make you feel like you are worthless, right? Or unworthy. It wouldn't sound like it's accusing you, and it would definitely not remind you of the voice of somebody who has been rude to you. How do you teach people to very clearly find the difference between, as you said, this voice of fear or somebody else's influence and your intuition? You said logic is one of the things. So if logic gets in, but what else can we know, like see it instantaneously and say, this is not intuition?
Yeah, that's such a great question, and I love that example. I think that's such a great thing to tell people to do is that your intuition is never going to be mean to you. It's never going to say bad words to you. It's never going to make you feel like junk. That's always fear. And I would also add, one of the things that I see people get really mixed up on is, we as women, as people in general, but as women, we can get really excited about something. And we
Mhm.
could see like you writing a book on, women holding so much money. And we could be like, oh my God, I could write a book about that too, because we're so excited. And people can come back and be like, oh, it was an intuitive hit, but it wasn't. It
Mhm.
was me listening to the excitement in your voice, feeling the energetics pouring off of you. And it was my ego or my human desires that wanted me to do that.
Wow.
So we want to take it even deeper than just, hey, as long as it makes you feel good, take action on this. And I did my own personal study. I don't follow studies. I do my own, especially with psychic development stuff. And I had a manifestation group. And one of the things that I had them do was I had them just write down all of their desires. And
Mhm.
I just remember this one client, she was like, I want veneers. I want a Louis Vuitton bag. I want a house on the beach. And it was all these things. And it was
Yeah.
great. And like, yes. And then I had her do this thing called rapid fire desires, which actually taps you into your soul and what your soul desires. And the difference blew her away. She was like, my soul actually wants freedom. It wants peace. It wants joy. It wants to feel supported. And the thing is when we have those things, so the first were her human desires, there's nothing wrong with those.
Yes.
If she were just going after those things versus going after what the soul asked, so freedom, peace, joy, support,
Mhm.
when her soul is satisfied, that actually will help her to manifest even faster. So she won't be in that human desire of those things. So what I show my clients is a couple things. For one, get really familiar with your brain.
Mhm.
Your brain has so many different voices that we can hear, from the fear-based and limitation, the ego, which like hypes us up, just a human, the knowledge-based, the memories, and the subconscious information. These are memories that we don't actually remember that we have, but it's there. They all exist. Get really familiar with what those are, what they sound like, where they actually originate in your brain, because there will be. I have clients that say, My ego comes from here every single time. It's different
Wow.
for every person, okay? But when you get really familiar with that, and you can do it during your day, like we all have negative thoughts. Pay attention when you have a negative thought. Where did you feel it? What did it do to your body? Where did it originate in your brain? And what did it sound like? What is the cadence of it? What does the voice sound like? Whoever is doing it will depend on the depths at which they can hear. Get really familiar because your intuition is going to sound very different. Your intuition should be coming from much lower, it should be coming up, almost like a flower opening, versus the mind. When the mind is acting, it's like pushing out, it's pushing out. So by doing that, people absolutely learn, well, that's just my ego talking. That's my knowledge that I have, which all of these things have a role in where they're super important. The other thing to look at is that emotion. What does it sound like when your emotions are leading you? Because the emotions will always trigger a mental thought. We don't want that. That is not intuition. That's your human. Now, we're not disregarding a human. It has a role with everything, but you will miss that intuition. So after you figure out the different mind things, use your intuition every day. I created this journal. It's super easy. It's kind of like the 5-minute journal for psychics. And
Mhm.
what you do is it walks you through a process every morning of sitting down and asking certain questions and then going about your day. The more you do this, where you actively engage your intuition and you actively tune in, get your focus out of your brain, get it down into your midline, and ask these questions and feel them rise up, feel those answers rise up. The more you do this, within a couple weeks of time, you will really understand what that intuition sounds like, and you'll be able to hear it during your day when you're doing things in a meeting when you really need to feel what's going on, because you'll be much more connected to your body, much more tuned into where the information is actually coming from. So you understand the source of that
Mhm.
information or knowledge that you have and be able to act on it with getting your emotions, your knowledge, your memory, and your subconscious out of the way, because none of those are intuition.
I love everything that you said, and I love how practical you made it because a lot of people think intuition and just these topics are so woo-woo and they're not practical. But you just made it so practical step by step. And also, I love the fact that you said that this is a practice that you have to learn how to do and practice it every single day. It's like an exercise that you do. You know how we go in the gym and we learn new exercises, or with anything that we just want to become better, you just need to practice it. And so many people either just they think intuition is something that they just need to have and it's just going to happen. Yes, some people might be more attuned, but just because you're disconnected does not mean that you cannot become better. With Carrie was saying, and I hope everybody listening was making points because you were dropping some liquid gold right here. I will definitely make some notes. And by the way, I have the journal. It's absolutely amazing. So whoever is listening, please go ahead and get it. We've had this conversation, I think, a while ago when we were having our talks, but do you believe that money and success carry their own energetic frequency? And if you believe so, how can business owners align with it to attract more success and financial abundance?
Yeah, so 100%. Money and success absolutely have their own vibration. Literally everything in the world has a vibration. It's how I can read and tell you the energetics of anything. And they're different energetics. They're very different. And one of the things that I see passed around the spiritual community a lot is people say, if you do your healing, you can manifest anything. You don't have to
Mhm.
be a good person to manifest a lot of money. You just have to be able to tap into the
We've
frequency.
seen it.
Yeah, it's not about like doing your healing work. Will that help you to do other things? Yes. But
Yeah,
if you have the ability to adjust your own vibration and frequency, and you're able to tap into that frequency of money, of of different levels of money as well, because $100 is going to have a much different frequency than $1 billion, and
totally.
it's also going to have an impact on you. Success at whatever level you deem successful is going to have a very specific vibration. You people need to understand what that vibration is, and it's not a thought, it's a feeling. So when it's not an emotion, it's a feeling. So it's a vibration that you feel within inside your body. Have you ever been I, as a little kid, I lived on a farm and there was an electric fence. And if you touch electric fence, it sheds like a current through your
Yes.
body. That's what you feel when you tune into energetics on a much softer level. So
Hmm.
that's the feeling that we're looking for. What is that frequency? Now, once you feel it in your body, it then produces a thought. It then can produce an emotion. And the problem is that people just focus on their human of I want $1 billion, I want $1 billion, I want $1 billion. But they don't, and they're like, yes, of course I believe I can do it. And of course I deserve to do it. But if you actually, that's just our desires. That's just our human. But if we allow ourselves to really feel that frequency of $1 billion, it's going to show you where you don't match. And if you haven't made $1 billion, you're not a match for it yet. And
Yeah.
so the more that we tap into that frequency and hold that frequency, whether we're talking about the frequency of $1 billion or publishing a book and having that be successful, even just feeling successful as a stay-at-home mom, it doesn't matter what it is. It's whatever level that's at. If you can tap into that frequency, feel it, experience it, let it do what it needs to inside your body. Because as you tap into the frequency, that frequency is going to find places in your energy, in your frequency that are not a match. And
Mm.
when things aren't a match, it brings things to the surface. Those things that come to the surface aren't to show you you can't do it, it's to show you the pathway to achieve it. So as you're tapping into these frequencies, and they all do, everything does, pay attention to what comes up with inside of you. Now, one of the things that I do, which I think you do as well, is I have meditations um, and energetic alignments that help people to actually understand what that frequency is. As an
Hmm.
energy worker, I can pull the frequency in. This is something I do on a daily basis with myself. It's not just something that I'm like, okay, I want to magically manifest $1 million or $1 billion. And it just happens like that. It's something that I continually align my energetics to because things in life knock your energetics off. Whether
Right.
your schedule's busy, whether you got bad news, whether you had a bad day,
Mm.
whether whatever it is, whether you're sick and not feeling well,
Oh,
they
yeah.
affect energetics.
Yeah,
So
totally.
our job as successful women is to be able to tune into our energetics and say, what am I actually feeling?
Mm.
What is it? What frequency am I vibrating at? Your body will tell you if you ask it, what is this energy? It will tell you. Then we want to make sure that we're a match for whatever it is that we're manifesting, whether it is $1 billion or
Mhm.
whether it is a certain level of success. But the energetics are a key part of manifestation. They will help you with the beliefs and the actions, but it's a key part of manifestation.
I so agree with everything you said, but I also question myself. There's so many examples in the world of people who have not thought about this at all, and they're billionaires. Let's just take Elon Musk, for example. You know, my ex-husband. We're not together anymore, by the way. I had to
Oh,
divorce
you're not
him.
together. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I
My
had to,
apologies.
I mean, all these crazy things happening in the States. We had a little bit of a fight, but you never know if he gets
I'm
better.
gonna have to catch up on your husband's issues, and I mean, I haven't heard your husband's.
I have none of them at this point. I'm just
Okay.
focusing on other businesses. But now on a serious, because I also this thing about me. I'm a geek when it comes to wealth and how people make money and just examining even the business. And I've been researching a lot of unicorn businesses in the last 1 year because I want to create one. And none of these dudes, because most of them were dudes, I guarantee you that a lot of them they don't practice, they don't have this awareness that you have. What is your explanation? And the reason why I ask you is because we've had conversations like that, and your view on things like that is so on point. And I'm sure that a lot of people say, well, Donald Trump never meditated. How the hell does he? What is your explanation of Pablo Escobar? Of course, Pablo Escobar was shot and lost his money, so maybe not the best example, but just how do these people get this money without attuning to anything? Is it written for them? Is it fate? What is it, Carrie? What is your explanation?
Yeah, so I love this question because one of the things as we get into the personal development world, there's a lot of things that people bring us, whether it's birth charts or astrology or human design or any of those things. None of them had resonated with me. And I
Mm,
saw souls very uniquely. And so back in like 2021, I think it was, I sat down with my guides and I was like, help me to understand souls because this other aspect, it just doesn't resonate with me. And they gave me what I call soul theory. And
mm,
soul theory is a soul typing program, belief, method. And what it does is it helps you to understand your different soul designation. So, really, really quick, we have soulmates. Everyone understands, or a lot of people understand that we have soulmates. These are strong connections that we have. We also have soul families, which are, again, a bigger group of souls that we incarnate with. What we also have are soul designations, which are groups of souls who have specific characteristics as well as purposes and what we can call fate in this world. And there are 5 of them. And without going into detail, one of them are called frequency handlers. And frequency handlers are here to literally create and manifest wealth at ease. They're here. They're part of their existence here is to show people with ease what's possible, is to be
Wow.
able to sit there and say, I want this and I'm having this. And it's written in their, it's like written in their stars, it's written in their blueprint. Now, it's not to say they don't have to do work. They normally have a specific struggle as a child. They really have to get comfortable with receiving a lot. But manifestation is almost to the fact of they ask for something and it's delivered. And not because they're special. Each designation has a very specific thing, but they manifest ridiculously easy and it's beautiful to see, but they
Mhm.
also have the potential to teach us how to tap into that energy. Us, and I mean, I'm not a frequency handler. So us to frequency handlers to tap into that frequency to see with ease how they're manifesting because they came here specifically with individual purposes written in their blueprint as to what they're supposed to be doing because there's a bigger part at play. So for like Elon Musk, he was supposed to come here and do the things that he's doing for a bigger impact on the world. And for those of us who aren't in the same frequency that he's in to be able to witness this and also recognize what's possible. Because even though he came here with a specific purpose and he's a specific designation, it doesn't mean that we also can't learn how to do that and adjust our frequency in order to tap into that.
Oh, I love this explanation. Makes so much sense. I want to ask you something before I continue with my scripted questions because
Yeah.
this is so interesting. And Do you think that everybody comes with a purpose? Because very often when we get into business, and especially women, we're so purpose driven and we're like, oh, I don't know if this is my purpose. And if it's not my purpose, maybe it's not going to work. I've heard and what I read and so on, that some people do have a purpose that is pre-created and they know that this is their path and faith or whatever you call it, but you also have the other beings that have a completely free, like a free script. They come here and they're like, oh, I'm just like free program. Like, when, those people don't go on vacations and they don't plan their vacation. I'm not one of them. I have planned every
That's
single
me.
second.
That's me. I'm traveling at the end of this month. I've not booked anything yet. That's me. I will book the night before. I'm so bad at that. But I'm bringing my whole family, so I do have to book this week. But yeah, that's me. So, yes, as well, inside of those designations that I was just speaking about, it helps you to understand. So, for one, every single person has a purpose. Every single person. Now, how faded that purpose is, meaning it's really strict and you have no wiggle room and you can't just decide what you want to do, meaning that no matter what you do, the universe keeps bringing you back to this one thing. There's people who have that. They can't kind of deviate off of it, but what it actually looks like can be different. So if my purpose here is to help people to normalize psychic gifts and to help people to access their psychic gifts, how I go about doing that could be more of my free will versus you have to do it this and this way.
Mhm.
Then there's people who have a purpose of healing. Well, there's so many ways that you can heal somebody. You can heal somebody just simply by triggering them. Gives
Mhm.
people an opportunity to do healing. You can heal, you can be a healer by being a doctor, being a therapist, just being a mom. There's so many different avenues. So,
Right.
although every single soul comes with a purpose, the faded aspect of it and the amount of free will that each person has really is different. And the purpose can be either self purpose, meaning that it really only affects you, the ripple effect affects everybody, or it
Mhm.
can be a global purpose like Elon Musk and
Mhm.
anywhere in between. But it really does depend on the actions you take as well as what's scripted in your blueprint. You decide it before you come over.
Is everything decided or do you have a
No.
wiggle room?
Yeah, you have a lot. It depends on the individual,
Hmm.
but most people have a lot of wiggle room. They have a lot of what we call free will. There's lots of paths and experiences that you might have put along the way. There's people you're going to meet along the way, but you have lots of different options. And then there are people who have very limited free will, meaning they have
Yes.
a global impact, so they have to follow what they're told. And it's not they're told it, they decided it before they came over. They were like, I want to have a global impact. They get together with all the people who they're going to impact and they decide what that looks like. And so nobody's forcing you to do your purpose. You decided it, you chose it as a soul as you plan your life. So it's all agreed upon before you get into life.
Mhm. Listen, I can talk to you for hours, but I need to stick to our timeline and ask you one last question. This is one thing that I love about you is that you believe and preach and say everybody is a psychic. Everybody has
Mhm.
these abilities, whether they are advanced or not, or realized, brought to the awareness, practiced. What would you tell our listeners, and specifically women, how can they improve our psychic abilities? I do believe women are better at tapping into that, especially because of their cycle as well. We see from research that women become way more intuitive and psychic when they are I think when they were in their luteal phase, literally they can tap into their subconscious mind better than men, and science proves that. But what is something that we can all do to improve these abilities and actually bring them into business as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yes, 100% every single person has psychic gifts. So the exercise that I shared with you on tapping into your intuition in the beginning is crucial. But here are some other really key aspects. The reason that we get other information is because we're storing a lot of trauma, a lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of experiences in our life, which everyone has on any level. So, what I suggest women do is really work on themselves. Get rid of the excess noise that's not yours. Get rid of the, experiences that you've had that are holding you back, that trigger you. Get rid of the limited beliefs. Really tap into clearing who you really are and get back to the core of yourself, like your true identity. That's going to help you to open up your channels because one of the first things I do with my psychics is we do a deep dive of healing work. For
Mm.
women, one of the other things is really leaning into your feminine energy. There's been a lot of like junk talk about being feminine and how it's weak and stuff, but really understanding what true feminine energy is. And one of the things that I personally do as well, and I tell my clients is oftentimes we live in a very immediate gratification world. We live in a go, 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 go world. And I myself am also, I'm not immune to the go, go, go. I own multiple companies. And so when I feel like I'm pushing or forcing or trying to make every decision, I literally full stop and take a step back and I have my energy do like this surrendering aspect. So I bring my energy back in, I ground it, I center myself back to my core, and I tap back into like my true essence. And it helps me to be back into that flow, back into surrender, back into trust. Those energies are incredibly supportive of opening up your psychic gifts because we're not stuck in our head. We're not stuck in the pushing and the forcing. In women, feminine energy, women who are in their feminine energy are truly the voice of God. That's what it said. Like our intuition, we're meant to be intuitive. We are the messengers of God. But
I
if you're
love
trying to
that.
figure it out yourself, if you're pushing and forcing, you're never going to hear those messages, those divine messages. So, really focus on finding time to just connect within, to just sit in nature, to clear that mind scatter, to clear that go, 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 go. And you're going to naturally see that your psychic abilities will activate. The more you connect with your soul is energetic. Okay. Your soul's an energy. That's what it is. Energy communicates through other energy. Psychic and intuitive gifts is simply the communication with energetics.
Oh,
So
the goosebumps.
if you're truly tapped into your soul, the psychic gifts have to follow. They have to. It's a rule of energetics. So the more you can tap into your soul and do that soul work, you'll open your psychic abilities. And Use that psychic development journal. It's what it's there for. Whether you're beginner and advanced, it helps you to increase your psychic gifts.
Your message was so profound. Women are the voice of God. I love this mantra. Let it sink into everybody who is listening because I also think that this will contribute so much for our well-being as women as well. If we realize that and show up that way, if we take care of ourselves and we are kinder to ourselves and we see our true worth, I think this is going to be so much better for humanity. Thank you so much for this brilliant conversation. I invite every single listener, people who are watching us, to really find you and follow you because you are a truth speaker. You are absolutely amazing. If they need guidance, if they need support, this is the right pure channel. Thank you so much for this incredible, incredible conversation today.
Thank you so much. Such an honor.